Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishwaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Docharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshimaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. So in the previous verse, we are looking at a short discussion in which Swami was again looking into those teachings, disclosing the non-dual nature of this apparent reality, or the non-dual nature of reality itself. No? Reality is one, no? and uh, and we are that reality. Everything is that reality, and it manifests itself as the aham, no? Consciousness reflected in the human apparatus. So we have seen some statements of different Upanishads, no? uh, present the fact that the true nature of reality is one, and we are that reality. And I think he mentioned a little bit about the. Oh, no, he's still trying, just trying to establish that there is no real origination and creation. There is only Brahman. But I think he was, because I did not have much time today to read again the text. He was presenting still the concept, the notions, and the evidence that there is no contradiction in the teachings of Vedanta, because Gaudapada will make it very clear towards the end of his Karikas that it's a concession. The Vedas do that kind of concession provisorily for the junior students. At the beginning, is too much to tell the absolute truth. And we do that with our children. Any one of us who had children, so we just present them easy things, easy. One time I heard someone say, "What is the truth?" And then the person answer, "Is that with hope, with works and helps." you know. So when you are not really prepared to get to listen to hear the ultimate truth, so you need to get a compromised version of the truth so that you can grow to become able to see the ultimate reality. So that's the question. That's the point. That is the way Vedanta works. Well, then the verse 16, which is where we begin today, uh, Swami, Swami, no, not Swami, it's Gaudapada. He presents another concept here. There are three types of seekers: the inferior, the intermediate, and the superior one. These seekers, they are classified that way according to their mind, their understanding, their vision. Okay, inferior vision, an intermediate vision, and the superior vision. And then it says that upasana has been taught for them out of the Vedic compassion, yeah, towards all seekers. So in fact, karma yoga, which is a dualistic sadhana, yeah, and Upasana Yoga both have been taught yeah, for the benefit of every seeker of truth. And of course, it's said to be out of compassion. Okay, so just imagine if the rich would have received only the ultimate final statements of identity between Jivatma and Brahman. Yeah? So it would serve no purpose. Maybe the riches would be able to understand that because they were working on that for such a long time. They would probably understand because it would be the answer to their inquiries. But how they are going to pass it on? So they need a complete teaching, huh? And which begins with Karma Yoga or Dharma and Upasana. And then out of compassion, the Vedas have present this dualistic vision, yeah, by which the seeker of truth grows. And the Upanishad temporarily accept the creation, among other things, the appearance, the origination, uh, for the students that cannot understand the non-dual reality. That reality is one, and you are that. Rare are the people who can straight away understand Aham Brahmasmi or Aham Satya Jagata Mithya. Yeah? So if you present the people this notion, and I have my early days, there was a time that James was meant to come to Brazil, and something happened he could not, and then there was a presentation in São Paulo that was going to be done by James. James not coming, I went there to give a talk to these people, and I present the concept between subject and object. Did I share with you recently? Did I share recently? No? I think I shared with my Brazilian group recently. So I present the teachings, define, what is a subject, and then the body is a subject, other bodies are object, my body is an object because I can see it objectively. And then I went on and on and on until to present the notion that consciousness is the real subject, and the mind, body, and the sense and the world out there, they are all objects. And I used the chart and everything, and I was proud of myself. I said, now I did do a good job. And then there were a couple of guys there that they brought me there. And then in the end, I asked them, so how was it? So how was that? And he said, well, it was okay, but I did not understand anything. And then I went to ask other people, and nobody understood anything. You understand? So I did not have experience. I present something very subtle, which is the distinction or the viveka among the Drisha now, the ultimate seer, and everything that can be seen. It's very subtle. I thought that was going to be a easy teaching, but it was not. No? So, and people were a little bit like find me strange for that. So this is the compassion that we all have to have, and the skill to be careful when we share this knowledge. You understand? Because it has to begin with the triangle format. I, the Jivatma, Shwara, the creator, God, and I relate to God conforming to its principles and laws because I want to have peace of mind. And then I have good results because I'm in harmony with Dharma and so on. So those teachings, they would have been much more easily understood. But due to my lack of experience, I present the Satyamitya format, and people could not understand it. So we have been going through this exposition that that suggests that there is no creation, there is no world, there is no origination. Using different analogies, the dream world compared with our waking world is a very important one. Yeah? And we see here and there the Upanishads, some of the Upanishads will say the waking world is as unreal as the dream world. Okay. But although we present those teachings, some people may say, but how so? I mean, we had so many other texts in which the creation, the projection, the manifestation of the world is presented elaborately, saying exactly how Maheshwara has brought about the three energies, and then the combination have brought about the five elements, and then how everything. So there are so many teachings that elaborate Vedantic teachings, the the relationship between the sense organs that develop from the from the unfoldment of these subtle elements. Okay, they begin breaking and dividing, recombine, and then we have the five elements. It was presented recently here, I believe, with the five elements plus the mind, plus the intellect and the ego. The eight aspects of Ishwara in a very subtle. I'm sorry, I'm probably doing some confusion because in Portuguese, in my class of the Gita, chapter 7, we are addressing some of these teachings, and I don't know what we said here or what we said there. Okay, so anyhow, so we have all these examples properly and elaborately presented for the junior students. The five elements brought about thereafter the five organs. Okay. So first the elements are being created, and then of course there is no purpose of a creation unless there is an agent or an experience knowing entity to experience and enjoy and suffer the creation or processing this apparent creation. So, and then it said that of the subtle elements, five subtle elements, the five organs are going to be developing simultaneously, I would say, you understand? Because one needs the other. So, and then we have the five organs, five sense organs as well, five prana, everything is being developed by and by with this teaching, the Panchakarana, which involve the subtle and gross elements. To do this, everything is properly taught by Vedanta. Yeah? That teaching is so convinced that even though that's not the message of Vedanta, it's very convincing. And as Lynn has said, oh, we heard those teachings before, and I bought into that. Yes, it was good that we bought into that. Uh-huh. It was what we could take at the time. Gaudapada says that students have three types. They can broadly be classified in three types: the lowest, the intermediary, and the most qualified, which are very rare. The lowest one is the one who has neither practiced Kama Yoga and no Upasana Yoga. So the lowest one is exactly my condition 34 years ago when I began this process. I have no idea of Kama, Dharma, and I never tried to meditate in my life, but I felt that something was strange in this world because I had no interest in this world as it was presented to me. So there was some spiritual vasana there, but I had no uh, preparedness via Kama Yoga and meditation. Yeah? So the lowest one is the one who has neither practiced Kama Yoga nor Upasana Yoga. Therefore, I did not have any purity in neither focus, one-pointedness. I did not have anything. But it's so strange, Lynn, that although I did not have any qualification, there was a desire, there was a spiritual vasana that was telling me, no, I mean, there is nothing in this world for me. Isn't it strange? Huh? So that's why I have always tended to say that if one has this passion toward the world and a desire, desire to know the truth, the qualifications they do develop, more naturally and in due time. You are going to say something, Lynn?
I was just thinking that when I was teaching meditation for myself and for everyone I taught, there was something very common about everybody, and it was what you had. There was something, an early experience or just some feeling that it's, I don't know the whole story here. There must be something more. Yeah. It's a wonderful little gift you get, that remembrance of who we are,
Yeah,
even while we're ignorant.
absolutely. Something very, very subconscious, is there, yeah,
Yeah.
influencing some decisions in our early days that do not make any sense from the practical point of view, such as me walking away from my profession and so on. So we have the lowest ones. Well, the mind's riddled with bundles of likes and dislikes, and thereby preoccupied most of the time. This is beautiful description. So the unqualified has mind dominated by rajas and tamas, desires and aversions, and that is going to create preoccupation and mental disturbance for most of the time. There's no other way. No? I'm moved by my likes and dislikes. In the case of the lowest ones, no reception of the teaching takes place in the Vedanta class. So if you are not qualified, there is no way you can even receive the teachings, such as my experience try to present the subject-object teachings to that group there in São Paulo. For unqualified people, now there is no reception of the teachings. So they have to do something else. The intermediary one is is who has practiced some karma yoga but has no pasana yoga. So Swamiji is presenting here that there are, first of all, the first person is not a really religious spiritual person, because to be a religious person, you have to be a karma yogi as well, you know. But the intermediary one has gone into the religious spiritual lifestyle. You understand? So he knows that there is such a thing as God, and he knows what is Dharma, and he's trying to overcome any dharmic tendencies. But the mind is not prepared for, to have one pointedness to analyze uh, human experience in the light of the teachings of the Upanishads. So there is no focus there. So he's nicely presented it. So the person may have had Kama Yoga, but the person has no one-pointedness, has not done Upasana. There is no focus of mind. When this person comes to the class, reception takes place, but retention does not take place. Uh, so it comes, but it's not retained, which is a common complaint. Some people, and I have been sharing some pieces with you guys in regards to my last seminar in São Paulo, where people are receiving, and I say, wow, and it's really going in, it's really going in, it's really going in. Now people are serious, people are asking questions. And then the moment that we stop for a break, the mind goes back to the world and starts all over the place, saying useless, stupid things. So when is the reception? Oh, I have some reception. What is the retention? No, there is no retention. Then you have to do pasana. You have to be able to discipline your mind so that it does not go anywhere the wind blows to, you know? So you need upasana. This person has purity of mind, but has no focus of mind. Very nicely put. It's a pure person, it's a good person, it's a dumb person, but the mind still jumps from, one thought to another. The thoughts may not be as materialistic as the samsaris, may be more like deities and these, some different aspects of a religious lifestyle, but the mind has no one-pointedness, okay? So what's missing? Focus of mind. When this person comes to the class, reception takes place, but no retention. This person may even understand well everything, but forgets it immediately afterwards. Forgets it. No retention. For retention, what is the pointer here? For retention, the mind needs to somehow stay with the teachings. The mind needs to contemplate on the teachings, process the teachings, digest the teachings, so we can receive the teachings, and it's genius, it's wonderful. But if I don't digest it, okay, so there will not be any assimilation. No? And Swami Paramarthananda said Arjuna had this exact problem on the sixth chapter of Gita. So he complained to Krishna, say, Krishna, you are teaching me very well. I'm receiving the teachings, but it just disappears right away. I find it wonderful. It sounds good. It sounds even too good to be true. So I wish I could live from that platform, from that vision, but I forget the teachings right away. The intermediary one has reception, but no retention of the teachings. Has purification, but no focus. The superior one, which is a very rare one, has gone through the entire process of karma and upasana, has developed purity and focus of mind. And when he listens to the teaching, his mind easily absorbs it. So I want to make a point here, because in my own first-hand experience, I had no clue what was karma yoga. No, I was not introduced to the concept of Dharma. No? My first guru, and then later on with Nisargadatta, he was not bringing up any teachings about Karma Yoga and Dharma Yoga as well. But somehow I was so stubborn with trying to meditate that after 20 years or so, my mind developed focus, and then meditation began happening more effortlessly. You understand? So in my case, so I got one point mental one pointedness, but I had no purity derived from karma and dharma, and I did not have any understanding. I did not have this devotional spirit towards Ishvara. Huh? So things can go that way as well, especially for us in the West, because in the West, God is out of fashion, and we introduced to meditation, and meditation can help us to develop, focus and silence, the experience of silence. But once the mind has both purity and focus, the teaching is processed and absorbed, assimilated, and internalized more easily. Janakas, the king, the famous king, detachment and mental preparation made him an exceptional case. So he heard the teachings and he assimilated and internalized right away. Why? Highly classified students, which are very rare to find. These highly qualified ones are rare. Karma Yoga and Upasana prescribed for the ones who have the lowest and the intermediary qualifications. If it is stressed in our teaching that even though one is attending Vedanta class on the Upanishad, the student should revise Bhagavad Gita and practice Kama Yoga and develop the proper attitude of offering the actions to Ishvara and accept the results as gifts from Ishvara. So this is, they are not, as I have been saying, Kama Yoga and Yana Yoga, both Vedantic Kama Yoga and Vedantic Yana Yoga, they are not uh, uh, self-exclusive. They don't exclude one another. They can be worked upon. We can work on both. The Gita is very relevant in one's life when attending Vedanta class. Then the two together will be mutually complementary. Very nice. Very nice. The verse 17, the dualists are firmly settled on their own set of conclusions. They contradict one another. This teaching is not in conflict with them. So from now on, Swamiji is going to play, to unfold the fact that the dualists are in a very, very tough condition. They are firmly settled in their own set, in their own mindset. And the conclusions that we get in regard to their philosophies, okay, their schools of thoughts, they are dualistic. As we know, duality is very, very diverse. Duality is fundamentally I, the knower, and the known universe. Okay, but then when I make this distinction between the knower and the known, I discover what we see in this duality. I discover plurality, diversity of objects, infinite numbers of objects, all of them governed by laws and principles that only Ishvara understands. And then the human mind, once the human mind takes duality to be reality, and then it finds infinite numbers of phenomenal objects, among them notions and theories in regards to the mystery of life. Okay? And everybody is working to try to establish that my theory about the creation of the universe and in regards to God and this is the right one. And they are all in the field of diversity, plurality, duality. And from that standpoint, everything is relative. It relates to the observer. It relates to so many other uh, principles, okay, or factors. And fundamentally, every dualistic view can be said relatively to be relatively correct from a certain standpoint, because there is infinite ways you can look into science and into philosophy and into spiritual philosophies. You understand? So they are always going to contradict one another. But the Advaita Vedanta, these teachings, is not in conflict with none of them. Why? Because on the we stand on the knowledge that I am the only reality. There is only conscious existence, and I am that Brahman. So when you see that there is only one reality, and what is this reality? And then, okay, where is it? Where is it? It's not out there. No matter how purified your sense organ instruments may be. Some people nowadays in this different circles around the world, they believe that we have a vision of the world that is very limited by our instruments of perception. We can see only this spectrum of light. We cannot see this. There are so many things happening, but we don't have the instruments. You understand? And this is limiting us, and we are never going to know the truth. And people believe that if I could have an upgrade somehow, even through my efforts to upgrade myself, develop some psychic powers, and then I can see like other animals see, I can hear more. They believe that the perceptive human apparatus could be improved to the extent that I can get in contact with reality. You understand? It's so delusional. Huh? Oh, yes, we cannot see anything. There are a lot of people that intelligent people, but the mistake is always that reality is out there. And if I have a better set of sensory instruments, I may I may discover it. And then I go into the macro, looking through those huge telescopes, trying to understand the other galaxies and so on. When I go into the subatomic structure, of the atom. So none of that is going to put us in contact with reality, and much less with a theory that explains reality, because it's going to be relative to the perception, to the explorer, to the investigator, that standpoint, that from that vision. But I'm looking out there, and it's impossible to know why, because only Ishwara has the supreme knowledge to understand this impossible universe, how this came about, and the 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 range of experience available for all living creatures, not only human beings. You understand? Only Shwara has that knowledge, and no matter. There is only one knowledge and one reality, which is the true nature of the seer, of the knower, of the experiencer, the investigator. So that's the only reality. And people are misled to believe that there are ways and ways and ways and ways to explain the reality of this world. When people are trying to explain the world which was really originated, really created, and it's really there, Vedanta will never going to discuss with them. You understand? But Vedanta stands on the point, you know, that reality is Satchitananda's conscious existence of limitless nature, and I am that reality. So this is the only knowledge that frees the individual from this anguish and anxiety to try to know things of this world as if I could, resolve myself. I could pacify my mind, my intellect, and I have more experience, better, So there is only one knowledge and there is only one understanding. The understanding is this world is not real. Reality is only the screen of consciousness, or the apparatus on which the universe reflects upon. So this is the only reality. Consciousness is the only reality. So this is the only knowledge that is not subject to doubt, not subject to discussions even. The discussions that Vedanta presents is only discussions bringing about supposed objectors to try to clear the mind of the objectors. You understand? But Vedanta will never going to contradict other philosophies because they are in Mithya, we stand in Satya, the only reality, right?
I love the word that's often used, accommodation, that this knowledge accommodates every other point of view, really, because it's all available here within myself. So how could you be in conflict with it?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. All Mithya knowledge occurs and happens, emerge within myself. And they can be said, so many things can be said in regards to any field of knowledge, Mithya knowledge, but they are just incomplete knowledge, no? limited knowledge, and furthermore, knowledge that does not resolve anybody, does not pacify anybody, no? Does not put an end to this problem, psychological suffering experienced by humans. No? Because of the Vedas' temporary acceptance of the origination or creation of this universe, some people believe that the world was really created by Brahman. Therefore, they look upon Dvaitam as Satyam, superimposition. Because the Upanishad has said that, this and that, and the Vedas have said this and that. This I like. I like the Dvaitam teachings of the Vedas, and I hold that teachings. And Advaita I don't like. I appreciate the Advaita. And then we say, okay, hold on to the Advaita teachings of the Vedas. A day will come that you will appreciate the Advaita teachings as the only means, né, of knowledge to resolve this problem. Oi, pai, eu tô dando aula agora, tá? Ah, Bebeto tá aí não, tá lá embaixo. Não, tá não. Então vai procurar lá embaixo, eu tô dando aula, não passa aqui não, tá? Não tem problema. Ok. Quer dar um oi aqui, pai? Quer dar um oi? Vem dar um oi. Quer dar um oi? I'm asking my father to say, but come here if you want to give to say hi to everybody. He speaks English. He's 90. He's going to be 95. No, no. I'm talking to myself here, my computer. So the confusion is that we take what we like and we take what somehow is in conformity with the subtlety of my mind. My mind is a little denser. I need to superimpose satya on mithya. I see the world as real as well. It requires normal subtlety of mind and sattva guna to understand Vedanta. So therefore, this is the Dvaita vision is widely accepted, and it's a misconception that exists all over the Vedas. Yeah? Gaudapada says that not only ordinary people have this misconception, but many philosophers, they have it, and they are dualistic philosophers. Okay, there are many Dvaita philosophers, proponents. They vehemently argue that Dvaita is Satya. Yeah? The seer and the seen both are real. Based on that misconception, they have their own philosophical system and they differ from one another, like the flake, the snowflakes, they differ from one another all over the Himalayas. Each one will hold on to their system as the correct one, fighting the others. Each system has its own concept of the creator. Yeah. Vaishnavas will say the Vishnu is the ultimate God. And I mean, it's all about that. They are philosophers, they are spiritual religious people, and then they are going to fight for their deities, to their gods. The dualistic philosophers say that their system alone is the ultimate truth. The truth is that there is no truth in Dvaitam. Very nicely put. The truth, you want to know the truth. There is no truth in Mithya. There is no truth in the universe, neither in the physical material nor in the spiritual realm of Mithya. Understand? The religious spiritual dimensions. Why? Because wherever there is true duality, duality can be looked at from different angles and perspectives. A camera, this is very nice. A camera can be used to take pictures of a particular object from different angles. Huh? And then from different angles, we're going to have a perception of that object, which is going to be slightly different. I don't know if he mentioned here about different blind people are going to be brought to a huge elephant, and then they are going to ask them to describe this elephant. So each one of them are going to be in their own section of the elephant, and they're going to present different descriptions. This analogy is wonderful, because these philosophers are just touching a little part of this spiritual phenomenal world by which suppose God creates it and the world is really real, and they are fighting for their point of view. These are all relative uh, reality. There is only relative apparent reality. Relative to what? To my point of view, to my angle of understanding, to the level of my mind. The level of my mind is going to look into the world and try to find reality. And each one of these visions are going to be dependent on my angle of perception within duality. And then Swami presents the elephant and the 7 blind people, and the fact that no description is going to be the same, and they are going to fight with one another, saying that no, my vision of this elephant is the correct one. Simple analogy that explains clearly why it is impossible for these people, these philosophers, believing that the world is real. Oh, this world physical is not really real, but the interdimensional world, that is reality. You know? And I need to raise the frequency of my mind so that I start, synchronizing myself with those locus, those realms, and then I'm going to be in contact with reality. No, it's all mithya. It's all mithya. The non-dualists will see each one, see that each dualist is correct from their own standpoint. The dualists will quarrel all the time with the dualists will quarrel all the time, but non-dualists will never quarrel with anyone. No, so you don't quarrel with anybody who holds on the philosophy or the vision of duality. No? The universe is also real, and the seer, the know, is also real. This is duality, so we are not going to fight with them because we are non-dualists, but we may fight with no other non-dualists. How can you fight with other non-dualists? There is no way you can disagree if reality is one and the same. It's conscious existence of limitless nature. So when there is only one, the oneness of reality is such that does not give you room for a second principle and the second theory or philosophy that we can find disagreement. All disagreement that you see within Vedanta is Dvaita Vedanta and Advaita Vedanta. Everybody says, oh, there are several sections on Vedanta. No, there is only one philosophy. And then there are small variations, concessions, let's say. I'm very careful with my people in Brazil with the lineage coming from Ramakrishna mission and Vivekananda and Yogananda and so on, although they supposedly are part of this Vedantic family, they have broken down the Vedanta teachings to say that, oh, there are 4 ways to come to moksha, to self-realization moksha. So you can do it by doing selfless work, karma yoga. You can do it by meditating. You can do it by devotion if you have a sentimental uh, personality, or if you are a hard case, you can do it by the intellect, but it's the worst possible way. So they break down the teachings of Vedanta as four paths by which you can come to the same destination. And Vedanta is very clear in its purity that there are only two paths. One prepares and the other gives knowledge. Okay, one is karma, dharma, upasana, doing things to get a better body, mind, sense complex in terms of purification. And the other is having a body, mind, sense complex purified to the extent, to the point, to the extent of understanding that reality is non-dual and I am everything and everyone is that reality. You know? So we can never find two dualists having an argument because when you say that there is only one reality, so when is the other reality so that we could have a discussion? The dualists will quarrel all the time, but non-dualists will not quarrel with anyone. That's why Shankaracharya established the worship of Shiva, Vishnu, and Deva. The dualists firmly adhere to their own theories. Some say that creation is many things assembled into one, a journey from many to one. Yeah? Everything is real, but now you have to come to the oneness of everything, as if reality was a wholeness made of many parts, many things that you have to come and establish oneness, bring it all together. Another theories argues that creation is from the one to many, others from many to one. Both are right from their own angles. They fight with each other and refuse to listen to one another. For a non-dualist, the different systems and deities are not ends in themselves, but a means to Advaita. So the non-dualist does not have a quarrel with anyone. So this passage here in the previous paragraph, the dualists will quarrel all the time with, but non-dualists will not quarrel with anyone. That's why Shankaracharya established the worship of Shiva, Vishnu, and Devi. Did you understand that passage? Can you help me?
Is it just to give everybody something to worship? Doesn't matter what.
Yeah, probably that's all there is to it. Oh yes, of course, because Shankaracharya would not never quarrel with the dualists. He say, okay, so you believe that in duality, okay, so have those deities, to worship, and one day you're going to be bored, like Papaji once was bored by worshiping Krishna. Okie dokie. Negate the creation and look at the creation as a mere appearance requires a lot of intellectual and emotional maturity. What he means by emotional? Negate the creation is for rare, mature individuals. And this maturity is said to be intellectual and emotional. Why emotional? Because we get attached to anything, and we get attached to our gods, our deities, and then we do not want to let go of that emotional relationship with God. And that can be an obstacle as well, which could bring us to a different conversation here. So, what happened with the Yanni? Yeah, he's going to lose its emotional bhakti towards the deities that brought him to the understanding of the true nature of reality as I am Brahman. Yeah? So, how is going to be the emotional aspect? Yeah? So, it has to be such that the Yanni is no longer attached to that relationship, that emotional relationship. As we know, everything that conditioned our experience here is vasanas moving, operating. Yeah? But vasanas can be blind, compulsive, or binding. Understand? And some vasanas are seen for what they are. Understand? Just a play. Yeah? So there will not be an emotional tie with a deity or anything, you know. So the maturity is not only intellectual, but it's emotional, no attachments, no attachment. Veda wish to prepare the minds of the people and so suppress the truth temporarily. This is very nice as well. Suppress the truth temporarily, deliberately. Veda talks about the creation of the five elements, the world, the gross body, the subtle body. It also talks about the worshipper in respect to the worshipped deity. Yeah? It talks about karma yoga. Anything is there. But they are just stepping stones. We have to use the Vedas to refine the mind. And once we are qualified, the Upanishads say that there is no duality at all. Neither the meditator meditated nor the worshipper worshipped. So from the standpoint of Upasana, the yogi, Upasana yoga, is the meditator meditating on Ishvara. Or if the person is just a bhakta, he worshipped his deity. But from the standpoint of the Upanishads, there is no such a thing. Okay, duality. None of this is real, just appearance caused by the power of Maya. So how about that, Mark? So does that make any sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense to me. Yeah, I completely get it. Yeah. The one thing I do think with regards to bhakti though is like when you truly love somebody or something, you become one with that something or somebody. In which case, the love for Ishvara, we can become one with Ishvara. This is the theory behind bhakti yoga, yeah. Um, However, this is still no. This would then remove duality as well.
Well, duality can be removed. I mean, I often say that the mind is moved by likes and dislikes, desires and aversions, and suffers due to that. Yeah? Those vasanas. Yeah? And you can resolve a mind under the spell of likes and dislikes, under ragas and aversions. You can resolve that mind. Understand that I am such the only reality, and everything in this world of objects is mithya. So mithya objects do not attract me anymore because I am such, I'm the only reality. So this understanding is the final understanding, which finally enough uh, dissolves the belief in duality as reality. Let's put it that way, okay? But before we resolve Jivatma in Paramatma, it's important to resolve Jivatma. You can never resolve the Jivatma in Ishvara, as Ishvara, but you resolve the mind of the Jivatma, understand the relationship between Jivatma and Ishvaratma. Because Ishvara is that which is providing us with everything that we have, the instrument of experience and knowledge, and the infinite numbers of objects of experience for the sake of us grow and develop and purify and get self-knowledge in due time. Yeah? So how are we going to resolve myself in Ishvara? I don't resolve myself in Ishvara as Ishvara, but I resolve my mind by understanding my relationship with Ishvara. So having no attachment to any expectation in regards to my Parabhada, my circumstance of life because I know that everything is being intelligently designed. This is a very important teaching to resolve Jiva's mind in Ishwara, but it's different. You understand? Because you can resolve Jivatma in Brahman as Brahman, because Brahman is the essential nature of the Jivatma, right? Paramatma. But you can never dissolve Jivatma in Ishwara Atma. Oh,
No.
because Ishwara, I mean, see, if you put in those terms, nobody uses this term that I have been playing with lately, Ishwara Atma. When we talk about God, Creator, then we are relating to an entity which is omnipresent, omniscient, and total knowledge, total power. You understand? So in limit, and the Jiva Atma is very limited in many sense, in all sense. You understand? We own our body-mind complex to Ishvara and this supreme intelligence. So we can never really become one with Ishvara unless we became one with Brahman, because Brahman is the essential nature of Ishvara and Jivatma. Paramatma
Yeah.
is the essential nature of Ishvara, Jiva, Jagat. To become one, Mark, is more correct in terms of one's understanding. It's always with Brahman. You understand? Because
Yeah.
in Mitya, there is Ishvara, Jiva, Jagata, and there is duality, there is plurality. The three pillars of this cosmos, as I like to put, you understand? And you can never
Mm.
merge one with the other. You can never merge the the ocean, the wave with the ocean, but you can merge the wave with water because it's the essential nature of both the ocean and the wave. You understand? There is no question of
Yeah.
merging because anything that is literally merging is going to surface again. It's going to come. The waves are keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. The jivas keep coming. Huh?
Mm.
So just for you to contemplate the notion of becoming one with Ishvara, it's more clearly understood as becoming one with the essential true nature of Ishvara, which is my very essential nature as Jiva Atma, which is Paramatma of Brahman. Okay?
Yeah. Very nice answer. Thank you, Arlindo. Mm.
You know, Arlindo, I was thinking about bhakti. It is a yoga, right? So, but it is essential, really. We don't have to use the word bhakti, but the devotion, like we were talking about how it, you get it, you understand it, it disappears. So, to my mind, what's missing is something more on the level of value or that devotion for the knowledge. I don't, because for me, I could never do nididhyasana until my love for the knowledge rose to that level where I wanted to be with it all the time. You know, so to me, bhakti is kind of just an ingredient in the cake, kind of.
Yeah.
It really
That's
serves a
absolutely.
beautiful purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Although there is there is a nuance distinction in between bhakti, devotional for Ishvara or deity. You
Oh,
understand?
yeah. Oh,
And
yes. Of course.
and devotion towards the scriptural knowledge or the knowledge. You understand? So
Yeah.
the
I'm sorry, I didn't. It seems more like a resonance with Ishwara than a separation and a love for a separate object. It's like, you know, something just clicks and everything is one. Uh, it's like an Aikya, you know, it's like a unity on some level, resonance. Is that a all right way to look at it?
yeah. So usually, let's explore a little bit that. Usually, the devote, the bhakta, he experience a very sublime, elevate human emotion. I mean, human emotion usually in the common sense is governed by getting what I want or getting what I do not want. Understand? And then I love or hate it. So the love for the creator, it has an incredible power to purify emotions, human emotions, which mostly are based on our likes and dislikes. You understand? So now you are developing a process of purification of your emotions now by understanding this Ishvara system, this relationship between Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagat. So in the beginning, it's natural and common that people understanding the system start leaning on Ishvara rather than leaning on the objects of my likes. Therefore, you start to understand that you cannot win in this game here, in this apparent reality. So you start leaning towards Ishvara, and then it's almost unavoidable that you get a little bit dependable. I mean, the teachings say in the beginning you are depending on the world. Transfer your dependence on the world to dependence to Ishvara, and then later on you transfer your dependence on Ishvara to dependence on the self, which is equal to independence. Okay, so the devotion that we have towards the Creator, it's a wonderful emotion, sublime, human emotion, let's say like this. But even more subtle is the devotion for scriptural knowledge, which came from Shwara, it comes from the Creator, but you have a devotion to the words, you understand, to the knowledge, which has a different sense to it, Lynn. When I when I got to know James and Vedanta, I was I was in the beginning because I always had this sense, this kind of devotional thing towards knowledge, but I was
Yeah.
seeing that I was having that towards certain gurus. Understand? When I got to Vedanta, I was superimposed my devotion for knowledge on Ramji. And then
Mm.
one day I told Ramji, I wrote him a message. I said, Ramji, I just discovered that I'm not in love with you. I'm in love with knowledge. And he said, ah, great, because I don't want you to be in love with me. I want only my wife to be in love with me. Well, typical, not typical of him.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And you need that in order to get to Yananishta. One really, Nididhyasana is just love in action, love of the scripture, right?
yeah,
That's all.
yeah. And why you are loving aspect of Ishvara, but it's not only, oh, thank you, I love you, I'm grateful to you, I offer to you, all that kind of elements involved in the triangular mode, they give room to something different. You are fascinated by this scriptural knowledge because deep inside you are going, that this scriptural knowledge is going to facilitate you to transcend any duality, understand, because the scriptural knowledge has the power to reveal the non-dual nature of reality. So you are fascinated by that. You understand? There is only I consciousness, existence, and everything is this, and there is infinite superimpositions upon myself, the self, oneself. So this knowledge becomes an obsession which has a different feel. You're not like leaning on Ishvara anymore. You are leaning on the scriptures, and the scripture is still in duality. Scripture is Nietzsche scripture, but you know that behind that dependence now on the scriptures, just around the corner there is independence, which is dependence on my very self, my very atma, which is the atma of everything and everyone. It's a different feel, you understand? It's love for knowledge.
Yeah. So
It's,
devotion is sort of like a tool until you drop it and you are it.
Yeah, and in the beginning you are devoted to an entity, the creator, and later on you devote to the scripture that the very entity, the creators, launched to us to say like, oh, in the end, I don't want anybody dependent on me. I want you to be independent because there is only you, Brahman. Understand? And then that message somehow comes, and then that sentimental dualistic uh, feel towards the creator gives room to something different. But it's I experience as incredible love for this scriptural knowledge, incredible appreciation. I knew that there was something behind that that could bring about you know good freedom, complete knowledge.
Mm.
Let's just conclude this paragraph here. This universe appears because of Maya. Everything appears due to these powers of Maya. The dream world appears as well in the same way. The moment I wake up from the dream world, I see that that dream world was just mental impressions being projected or being reflected in my very mind. And as a dreamer, I would never had realized that. And similarly, as Dvaitam, I will never realize the Advaita nature or reality as my very self. Understand? This is the final teaching. Veda does not teach that in the beginning. It waits for us to get mature enough. Until maturity comes, the student is advised, not only allowed, but advised to continue in good Dvaitam. Go for good Dvaitam. What a good Dvaitine wants. A good Dvaitine does not want to develop some powers or some different vibration to experience more meteor here or there and this. No, a good Dvaitine wants what? I want purity of mind and focus, contemplate sattvic mind, because I want to understand that reality is non-dual. This is what a good Dvaita, a good Dvaita wants. Why it's in Dvaita? Because I'm doing things to get what? Qualified to understand my nature as Advaita, which is the only reality. Yeah? So the Dvaita is allowed to stay, the students not yet qualified, stay in Dvaita, but stay in good Dvaita. That's the point I want to make. Stay in good Dvaita. What is the good Dvaita, Ma? So I'm in Dvaita, I'm related to this world, and I'm doing karma, dharma, upasana, among other things. I'm doing my nididhyasana, Vedantic, but I'm doing these things. Why? Because I want to result. What is the result? Purity and focus, what mental readiness, qualification to understand the nature of reality as Advaita. No? So if we want to stay in Advaita, let's stay in the good Advaita. What the best Advaita can give us? Mental purity. Yeah. So that my body-mind complex can understand one's very non-dual nature. It's very non-dual nature. Several philosophers remain duality. They remain in duality. According to them, moksha occurs after death. This is another, there are some schools that say, no, here there is no moksha. Moksha occurs when you leave the physical body. They go to Shiva, they go here, they go there, and they remain there doing pujas permanently. Samsara never ends to them. It goes to this physical material samsara and then go to the sacred or spiritual samsaras. Advaitam is the only truth. For the non-dualists, the start is Advaitam and the end is Advaitam. And the middle is Advaitam. So if you got qualified and got this knowledge, and then there is no reason for you to start traveling again, passing by those intermediary stations, you know? Gaudapada says that everything appears to be true according to one standpoint. We have seen this. Everything can be looked at from different angles. We do not quarrel with any other philosophy which are dualistic by nature. The non-dualist is practical. The non-dualist is practical. What is absolute truth is Advaitam, which is the adhistanam of all duality, the substratum, the base, the support. So what is practical about that? So it's very practical if you submit your mind to the teachings of the Upanishads. Examining one's experience which occurs within duality to extract the understanding of the substratum as my very atman, my very self-consciousness. Everything is happening in the scope of consciousness, and I am that consciousness. Gaudapada says that all philosophers quarrel with one another, but the non-dualists do not quarrel with one another. The reality of duality is just a conditional reality, depending on what? Your mental state. As a dreamer, as a waker, or as a sleeper. Advaitam is the only absolute reality because there are no standpoints, there is no mental conditions, there is only one consciousness appearing under apparent different conditions, mental conditions, and so on. Okay, so we begin next week, next Monday, from the verse 18. I'm making a note for myself in the video. 18, we begin. Anything else? We are late today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. So I'm experimenting with our class, making it more dynamic, invite you guys to participate. I think it's very rich that way, considering that, we are dealing with qualified Vedantins. And I have been playing a little bit that with my Brazilian group, but there is more difference in terms of levels of understanding. But I think it makes the satsang nicer and allows for you guys to inquire and express your knowledge as well. Namaste. Next Monday.
Okay, thanks, Arvindo.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Orlando.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.